All right, the ICE Director, Todd Lyons, joining us tonight. Sir, good to have you back on the show. And we're going to talk about domestic immigration here in just a second. First, I want to start around the globe, and I want to talk about what we just saw in France this week. The French are so worried about a Muslim refugee bombing their New Year's Eve party that they have just canceled it. There will be no New Year's Eve celebration in Paris, which is a full capitulation to terrorism. It's exactly what you're not supposed to do, and it comes 5 months after a French judge decided that the French have to start accepting refugees from Gaza. So they already have refugees from all over the Middle East, North Africa, now Gaza as well, which are some of the most dangerous people in the world. What's your reaction to that?
All right, folks, welcome back to the Red Wave Network. If you love this country, believe in the rule of law, and still think facts matter more than political theater, you're in the right place. Today, we're reacting to this video titled, ICE Director Slams Ilhan Omar's Claim ICE Pulled Over Her Son, Says Zero Evidence. And let me tell you, this one exposes everything that's wrong with how immigration enforcement is being politicized in America. So buckle up.
You know, Rob, you're 100% spot on. That's what we shouldn't be doing. We shouldn't be giving it to terrorism. You know, during the July 4th celebrations, there was rumors of potential attacks in the United States, and I was constantly asked if we were worried. You know, ICE is a agency that's born out of 9/11, second largest law enforcement agency in the U.S. So we know that we can go out there and counter these terrorist threats. But what we saw from the last administration with the porous border, we have to constantly vet these people, especially from high-threat countries like Afghanistan, Somalia, and other countries. We have to be able to vet these individuals and make sure that we don't let any terrorist activities happen because of our broken border system or that folks that, you know, use our immigration pathways.
It is something else. It's something to see that they'll start canceling celebrations. They'll restrict freedoms. They won't get rid of the problem. They won't stop that, and they still to this day are continuing to allow refugees from these places into their country, even though every single person knows that it's made their country far worse off than it was before. That's what's just truly remarkable is the levels that they will stoop to continue to try and be politically correct and virtuous. The president yesterday announcing travel restrictions and bans on about 20 more countries here in the U.S., 39 now in total. You look at the list there, and obviously, as we heard in his first term, the lefties are screaming that this is racist. What's your response to that?
You know, Rob, you know, it's not racist. We have to go ahead and we have to take care of the American people. We have to make sure that we're, like I said earlier, we're properly vetting the right people. Secretary Noem has made it clear that she is not going to allow anyone in this country that is going to be a potential harm or potential threat. We've seen it all across the globe where free immigration and no immigration constraints have led to attacks on individuals, knife attacks in major cities, car rammings, you know, bombings. We can't have that in the United States. President Trump made a promise to the American people he's going to make America safe again, and that's what he's doing right now.
Ilhan Omar, been in the news a ton these last few weeks. Earlier this week, claimed that her son was pulled over by your agents, by ICE, and asked to prove who he is and his right to be in the country. You say that never happened. DHS also refuting that claim as well, calling it shameful. In that from the Department of Homeland Security. Ilhan responded on CNN this morning. Take a listen.
It is amazing that they're able to put out this statement in saying definitely that they did not pull my son over when they haven't been able to answer anything else. And ICE has been known to lie when it comes to their enforcement.
Says you're lying. Your reaction to that?
I mean, just her reaction alone, the fact that if you think about the society we live in today, cell phones, recordings, social media, if her son was pulled over, I'm pretty sure she'd have a video or something of it. We checked with enforcement removal operations, Homeland Security investigations. We have zero evidence to say that we pulled that individual over. And, you know, if we did, I would be out there explaining why we did the enforcement actions we do, which we constantly do all the time. But to just sit there and say that we did it and that it was racist and we're out there scaring and terrorizing the community, this is the type of political rhetoric that's leading to the 8,000% increase in death threats on my officers and agents, the over 1,500% increase in assaults and, you know, ramming of vehicles. It's these type of accusations is what's putting ICE in the crosshairs right now with these extremists.
Yeah, you know, I noticed in that interview with Wolf Blitzer, and you probably saw it, but he points out, and she points out that these are all, so many of these Somalians are now citizens because they've moved through the process. As refugees, they've become citizens. What he didn't point out was the vast amount of fraud that we have found from these communities, marriage fraud to bring other people in. He didn't bring up the fact that 80% of these families are on some kind of welfare in this country. He didn't bring up the billions in tax dollars that have been stolen by a subsection of that community. None of that was brought up in the conversation.
No, and you know, it says a lot, because if you look at the investigations we're doing right now, Homeland Security Investigations is out there looking at benefit fraud, document fraud, and we're finding more and more. And to your point, just the billions of dollars that were siphoned to offshore accounts, to possible terrorist organizations, and the fact that Americans who needed that money didn't get it, and it went to fraudsters, is something we need to clean up and focus on.
And the fact that we have a country that is reaching out to bring refugees in from other places, something that no country has to do, that most countries won't do, and then in return we're getting a large subsection of people that are on either welfare, and of that subsection, even more, some of them are then stealing from the government after being given this, given this wonderful opportunity and this graciousness. They return the favor by taking from the American people, and that's something that the media does not want to talk about. They just want to scream racism. Todd Lyons, the ICE director, thanks so much. Yeah, we appreciate it, sir.
Thanks, Rob. Good Christmas, fan. Talk to you.
All right, thank you.
The IC director comes out and says it clearly: zero evidence, none, no report, no record, no body cam, no traffic stop, nothing. Yet a sitting member of Congress goes public with serious accusation against federal law enforcement. An accusation that instantly spreads online, fuels outrage, and paints IC agents as rogue actors. And when the truth comes out, silence, no correction, no apology, no accountability. This is the problem. Let me say this plainly as a patriotic American. You do not get to casually accuse law enforcement of targeting your family without evidence, especially when you hold power and influence. Words have consequences. When politicians demonize IC day after day, calling them racist, corrupt, or criminal, it doesn't stay on Twitter. It spills into the real world. ICE leadership has repeatedly warned that anti-IC rhetoric has coincided with a massive surge in threats and assaults against agents, men and women who are simply doing the job Congress assigned them. These officers aren't politicians. They don't write the laws. They enforce them. And when political leaders turn them into villains for applause, they put lives at risk. Now let's zoom out. ICE didn't appear out of nowhere. It was created after September 11th, when America learned the hard way what happens when immigration systems fail and vetting collapses. Today, ICE and DHS continuously vet individuals coming from high-risk regions, not because of race or religion, but because of document fraud, identity gaps, and terror network activity that have been documented by intelligence agencies worldwide. This is about process, not prejudice. Proper vetting saves lives. Period. We also hear a lot of screaming about travel restrictions and border enforcement. But here's the truth no one on the left wants to say out loud. Every sovereign nation on Earth controls who enters its borders. When borders become porous, when vetting is skipped or rushed, the results aren't theoretical. We've seen what happens in cities across the world when governments lose control of entry and enforcement. America should learn from global failures, not repeat them. Security before entry is not tyranny. It's responsibility. Even federal investigations have shown that immigration systems can be exploited through document fraud, benefit fraud, and identity manipulation. That's not an attack on refugees. That's an indictment of weak oversight. When fraud goes unchecked, it hurts taxpayers, legal immigrants, real refugees, and national security. Enforcement protects the system for everyone who follows the rules. Across Europe, leaders are now being forced to rethink policies after years of ignoring security concerns. Public safety decisions, like canceling major events due to terror threats, are warnings, not successes. America should never normalize fear. We should prevent it. That starts with strong borders, real vetting, and law enforcement that isn't politically sabotaged. So here's my take as a proud, right-wing patriot. If you're going to accuse federal agents of misconduct, bring receipts. If there's wrongdoing, investigate it. If there isn't, stop smearing the people protecting this country. ICE agents deserve facts, not fabrications. America deserves borders, not chaos. And leadership should be about truth, not headlines. If you agree, hit that like button. Subscribe if you believe in law, order, and national sovereignty. And drop your thoughts in the comments, because the conversation matters. God bless, and God bless the United States of America.